Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Tiger Nexus podcast, and welcome to State of the Tiger Cage. This is my little sub-series where I'm just gonna ramble on, give you guys my thoughts about some things, and just spill my guts, as it was. Today we've actually got some questions, we'll dive into them real soon. Just first off, I want to let everyone know that the podcast is officially over 1,000 downloads on the podcast platforms, so thank you very much, guys. That's amazing. Just took us over a year, which is great. Honestly, I will admit the first couple weeks of the podcast has actually been really tricky, because, getting guests on a podcast is really hard. Getting guests, especially if you're not well known, getting new guests on is extremely difficult, and the level of attention you have to put into it is extremely high. And when you're best friends with someone who's able to get the voice of Zordon from Power Rangers, one of the Power Ranger actors, the Red Ranger himself, Andros, and different types of big names like that, you kind of feel a bit, I don't know, defeated when people say no to you, which I've had over the last couple of weeks. I've had a couple of people say no. And I don't know, it's hard because, especially if you're a fan of someone who makes content, I interview all sorts of people, all different types of content creators, and when you're really into someone and their content, and you love their vibe and their attention, and you just love them as a person, and then you ask them to come on your podcast and they decline, it kind of hurts almost, And so the first couple of weeks of the podcast, most of the episodes been Geek Out episodes, which is fine. I'm cool with that. We've done Monster Dive. We started a new sub-series called Press Start and Level Up, which is with my friend Anthony, where we talk about video games. That's been a lot of fun. And I also had returning guests like Zio the Hero, which was awesome. They both came on at the same time. I've had Cosplay 267, Mark the Red Corner Stranger come on at the same time. So I've had the Three Ranger Bros on, and also at the same time we had Zio the Hero. So I've had all four members, all four people separately. But then I had the Zio the Hero lot on one episode and the 300 Bros on one episode, which is great. My friend James has come back and things, and it's just been, I don't know, it's just been hard to get guests. I am very happy to announce, though, that all of the podcast episodes throughout March will be brand new interviews. 4 weeks. I kept on saying every Monday, and then I found out Monday, the last Monday of March is the 31st. So I'm hoping to make that a movie dumpster dive. But yeah, so 4 weeks in a row, we're going to have brand new guests. And one thing I absolutely love about this is two of them are really small gaming related content creators, and they're less than 500 subscribers. One of them is very much like me. We mirror each other very, very, very much, and so I really enjoy talking to him. They both agreed to come back on and geek out with me later down the year, which is great. One of them's a dad, and then the third member, the third interview, is actually someone that I'm actually going to be a guest on his podcast. I found him because he interviewed Nick from Original Geek, and I really liked his vibe and things. So we actually did try to record an episode, but his audio wasn't good for him. So he asked if we could redo his episode. I was like, yeah, that's cool. And so we're actually going to be recording back-to-back episodes, which is going to be insane. I don't know if I'm actually going to be dead after that one. I can tell you that for absolutely nothing. That's going to be an absolute nuts to do. I've never done back-to-back episodes like that. And then when it comes to the fourth member, is actually a guy who follows me and Willie on TikTok. He goes by the name of Nerdy Viking. And he plays Marvel Rivals, which is a game that I'm obsessed with right now. So that'd be really cool to have him on, to have him come on and just, chat with me. And I believe he live streams on Twitch. I could be wrong, but I believe he does. So that'd be really cool to have him on. But yeah, it's going to be a really good month in March, I think, for the podcast. And it's, I don't know, this year's just kind of been a bit nuts. It's been up and down a lot in some good ways, but some bad ways. Like, so for an example, the beginning of October, my mother stopped talking to me. I can't even say we fell out. It was kind of dumb. She just stopped talking to me after little. We didn't even argue, bro. Like that's the honest truth. So it kind of went down a route of, she kind of messaged me a voice message which was like 3 minutes long, and she's being very motherly. She's being like very demanding and like very not aggressive, but like very detrimental in her tone. And so I kind of piped up and like kind of retaliated. I wasn't nasty or anything. We weren't nasty to each other, but I kind of piped up and kind of like said, "Whoa, hang on a minute." And then within 24 hours, she blocked me. And so a week ago, my son takes a bus to school. There's a mini bus that he gets to school. So I get myself ready to go out to go walk up to the bus stop to grab him, and I open my front door, and outside is the car seat that my son would use in my mother's car, with 2 bags on top, and the bags are full of the clothes, the toys, the activities, the books, all different types of stuff that was from my mum's house, which means during that day, whilst I'm in my office and I'm recording and editing and all that stuff, they've come to my car park, they've parked up, and I'm assuming it was my stepmom, but they've walked down to my house and left things outside my door, and then fucked off again. And yeah, that pissed me off, man. That honestly, that actually pissed me off. Like, I didn't do anything, you know. Like, the last time we fell out, there was a massive argument. We screamed at each other. There was name calling. She'd slag me off to her friends. I'd slag her off to my friends. You know, she would make it out that I was just a horrendous human being. I'd make it out that she was a horrendous human being. And when I was in a point in my life where, you know, things were not exactly great, I actually messaged her. It was actually Christmas Day, and I just wished her Merry Christmas. That's all I did, and we started talking again. Logan was 2, and he's about to turn 6, so we're only talking again for 4 years. I have left her a message. I messaged her on WhatsApp because she's blocked me on everything else. She's now blocked me on WhatsApp, but I did message her, and I basically just said I knew this was coming. I had a gut feeling type thing, you know, and I knew that we'd fall out again. And I just told her that, you know, Logan's fine. You know, that is our grandson after all. And I can't believe that she's willing to abandon him in that sort of sense. You know, even if I've spoken to Logan's mum's mum, so Logan's nan, then, shall I say, my ex-mother-in-law, and, because they're pretty tight, to be fair. And she even said that, you know, if me and Logan's mum didn't get along, you know, there are other ways that Logan could still get to see his mum without me being in contact with him. And she said that, let's just say me and Logan's mum weren't, you know, civil with each other like we are, she would message me like Logan's nan would message me. And my fiance Nia, she even piped up and said, you know, if my mum didn't want to talk to me but still wanted to see Logan, you know, she could message Nia. And, you know, even if it was just a case of, you know, Nia takes Logan up to my car park and drops Logan off to my mum, and my mum drives him to her house, and things like this. But no, none of that. So that's happened. That was a bit of a punch in the face, I guess. I was just annoyed, man. That kind of pissed me off. I did have a little spat with Willie, or Cosplay Dude 637, however you want to call him. So he one day he messages the Three Ranger Bros group chat. He's like, hey, how would you guys feel if I asked Jared to be a council member? So for those who don't know, we have council members, 3 content creators now, who are a part of the Three Ranger Bros, but are not the Three Ranger Bros, if that makes sense. They're like additions. And so I wasn't against it fully, but the thing that annoyed me was Willie made the comment of, hey, I'm just trying to, make something of the Three Ranger Bros. And I'm like, yeah, but we're not doing anything. We're not doing anything. Nothing's happening. The only thing we've managed to do in the last 2 years is Willie's managed to get us a table at Comic-Con. And, like, he stood there and he's giving out these cards that have our QR codes that you can scan to find our link trees, but there's nothing there. There's nothing for the Three Ranger Bros, So, it that annoyed me because I was like, well, hang on, we're not doing anything. How can you say we're trying to expand the Three Ranger Bros when there's nothing to expand? So he came up with the idea of basically giving me the reins. And he said, look, you do something then, because you've got the time, you're a stay-at-home dad, you've got the time, you do it. And I was like, okay, fine, I will. And within a week, I had everything set up, ready to go. And we had a meeting on the 21st of February. And, I presented them a YouTube channel, a TikTok account, a link tree. I designed a new logo for us. I designed all sorts of things. And the boys are happy, and I'm hoping that on the 11th of March, our YouTube channel officially drops with new content. The TikTok account will be dropping with new content, hopefully within the next week. So that's pretty cool. So we're actually doing something now. We're actually going to be making content together as the Three Ranger Bros. It's like an official content creator group, and it can be done. It can be done. We've never met Cosplay Dude. I've met Mark a couple times now, and it can be done. That's the thing. There just has to be a lot of communication, and the boys have both agreed to do as much as I can. I'm allowed to do as much as I can, and then the boys had agreed that they'll work with me as much as possible. And so I wasn't annoyed. I guess annoyed is the wrong word, but it just niggled me a little bit. I was like, well, hang on a minute. You're sat there saying that you want to expand the group. Let me then. I have time. I have the ability to do this. So yeah, we're gonna have a YouTube channel, which is a lot of fun. There's a TikTok account, which is a lot of fun, and we now have a link tree which has the YouTube channel and the TikTok on there. A section for Willie, a section for Mark, a section for me, and a section for the partners or the council members, if you will. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. I can't wait to get that up and running. Hopefully the next time that I do one of these episodes, I'll better tell you guys how well that went. So other than that, everything's going pretty decent. Logan is almost 6. Logan's birthday is the 11th of March, and he'll be 6. And that's nuts. That is insane. I still remember holding him for the first time. His mother had a C-section. So when the doctors are there, patching her up, making sure she's okay, I get to hold this tiny pink blob. And, he's just this tiny little thing, not making a noise. I can feel his breathing. And, I remember that day, bro. And now he's 6. He's obsessed with Power Rangers, which is really cool. He's obsessed with Power Rangers. We just finished Dino Fury. By the time this video comes out, he'd be halfway through Cosmic Fury. And we're kind of working backwards. Dino Fury was the first Power Ranger series he watched. But, different generations get introduced different ways. But yeah, that's really cool. And then, so we're recording this. We're actually currently through half term for the UK. So all school kids take a week off in between different holidays. And it's called half term. And Logan's currently in his half term. And I've spent the week editing, recording, everything that isn't Tiger Tales or gaming related. So that's my cosplay channel, that's my level 5 channel, which is where I talk about movies and TV shows and video games and things. That's my If You Give It Out a YouTube channel. There's my collectibles channel. I'm vlogging the whole thing as well, so that's for my vlog channel. And so I'm working my ass off each day, so that's pretty cool. This is actually the only thing I've uploaded is my podcast, is this, and then my story podcast, which is called the Marvel and DC Universe podcast, which I'm very much looking forward to getting that on track. So that podcast is an audio drama podcast, and that's all my Marvel and DC stuff. And on there, I've actually held back uploading the stories on Tiger Tales because I want the podcast to catch up. It's almost there. It's almost caught up. And once that's caught up, I can then upload the stories that are related to that universe on Tiger Tales and Tiger Tales of Lost Stories and on the podcast at the same time, so they all come out, simultaneously. And the really cool thing is the 8th of August this year marks me being a content creator in some format for 10 years. And when that day comes, I'm dropping the very first chapter to a story called Union Day, which is the birth of that universe, how that universe gets created. And it's something that I've hinted at a lot throughout my stories. There's a prequel story already going, so that'll be really fun. I know a lot of people want to hear that. There'll be a lot of voice actors involved. It'll be a big time story, so I'm very much looking forward to that. So if you're hearing this and you know of the Tiger Tales universe, War Against Gotham, Mutants for Hire, Red Lantern, Crimson Rage, my Spider-Man story, that sort of things, just know Union Day is coming, and I'm very much looking forward to it. So let's dive into these questions, shall we? These come from Billy. He is the co-host to Zero to Hero podcast. He has been on 2 episodes of the podcast now, and he's an awesome dude. He's a big collector. If you check him out on Instagram and TikTok, he shows off a lot of his collection. He collects Funko Pops and Lightning collection of Power Rangers and things. He's just honestly a really cool dude, and he's from Texas. His podcast is a lot of fun. He does his podcast with his brother. And so, I'm going to work these kind of backwards. So, what's a thing you've learned with the Tiger Nexus podcast is the third question he gave me. Now, with this question, I've kind of already delved into it already, but accepting people, if they say no, sure. If they say yeah, awesome. And I've also learned, don't be afraid to ask. And that's not just asking, for them to come on the podcast, but just don't be afraid to ask questions. Because through my podcast, I've had people return and we've geeked out. Through my podcast, I actually have one of the most amazing things I'd never be able to say in my life. I never thought I'd better say it. And I'm not going to spoil it because I want the people that listen to the Power Rangers crossover we're currently writing, I want people to actually listen to that and go, oh my god, is that this? So, on Tiger Tales X and on Power Rangers Universe 19, we're uploading a storyline called The Rangers and Riders Unite War for the Multiverse. And it's a crossover with every single Power Rangers and Kamen Rider story that exists within Tiger Tales, Universe 19, and Mark the Red Cornish Rangers Universe 20. And so there's a lot of different universes, there's a lot of different characters, and I've actually gone out and I've spoken to content creators and I'm like, hey, can I involve your made-up characters? Can I involve this in the crossover? There'll be 2 scenes. One, an introductory scene where their universe dies, and then eventually all the universes come back and join a big fight, kind of thing like Endgame, and Avengers Endgame, and they'll be included on that. I've spoken to one guy on Facebook that I found. I've spoken to Beauty Baba Yaga. I've spoken to A-Crown. They've all agreed and things. And there's this one person I've had on my podcast, and he said yes to me using his character, and he'll voice the character too, and I'm so stoked. And that's because I asked. There's one of the first interview I have in March coming out. He's an artist as well as a gamer, and he draws a lot of really cool things. He's into Ben 10, and after recording with him, I asked him 3 questions. 1, can he come back? And he said, yeah, we geek out about Ben 10. 2, would he be down to collabing with me? So I have an art channel, he draws, and I really want to collab with him. I don't know exactly in what sense, but I think that'd be really fucking dope if we collabed. I think that'd be really awesome. And then the third one was if I could use his artwork in another video that I have planned, and he said yes. So that's really cool. I'm really happy about that. He's willing to work with me and things. We get to collab in an art video, which I've always wanted to do with artists, is collab with them. I know my artwork's not great, but it's still really fun. I always ask the question, do you want to come back and geek out with me about something? But yeah, if anything I've learned from the Tiger Nexus podcast is to accept people for who they are. Accept the answer no, accept if people have time restraints and families. Like the second interview that's coming out, we planned it in weeks in advance because his kid's in school until midday, so he's 8 hours behind us. Well, 8 hours behind me, sorry. It's a lot of, a big time difference. And so I had to work around him because he can only do it in the morning for him, which is only late afternoon for me and stuff. So, that was a big workaround. Actually, having Logan in half-term came in handy. So that's one of the reasons why we managed to do, and we did. And then always ask a question. Always, if you want to do more, if there's, always ask a question. It's fine to ask a question. The second question coming from Billy is, seeing you cosplaying on TikTok, has that stirred up any inspiration for new stories? And the simple answer is 100% fucking yes. So currently cosplaying on TikTok. Well, first off, my TikTok account got hacked. What am I saying? Banned. My TikTok account got banned. I didn't even do anything wrong this time. I have done things wrong on TikTok before. I'm very argumentative. I can get very snappy at people, especially if they're really dumb. And I get a lot of negativity for no reason. And I had reached 10 violations. And when you hit 10 violations, they ban you. And I've been banned before. I've been banned 9 times in the last year. And obviously I appeal it. They go, yeah, I actually got banned, literally. So I got banned 2 weeks ago now. But I got banned a week beforehand. And I repealed it and they said, yeah. So when I got banned again, I'm like, oh, okay, I've obviously done something. I don't know what. You're not telling me what it is. They just say, oh, you broke a violation, but they never tell you what that violation is. And I've been banned before from being sexually explicit. For those who know me, and for those who are you know me well, how the fuck have I done anything sexual explicit? What the fuck? So TikTok makes no sense, but yeah, that got banned, so I'm now restarted again, and the account is not even at 100 followers, and none of my videos have reached 100. It's depressing but relieving at the same time. But anyway, going back to the question, seeing you cosplaying on TikTok, has that started up some inspiration for new stories? So I cosplay as my own OC called Okami, who's a bounty hunter who goes around and steals weapons from different universes, and then you contact him and make a contract and he'll go and kill someone for you. And then there's also Ben Tennyson, Alien Force Ben Tennyson to be exact, but I do like to kind of make it so his time frame isn't exactly limited to Alien Force. In videos I've referenced Ultimate Alien Omniverse and things. There's also Spider-Man, which I've lost the mask for. And then now there's Zach. Zach is a Pokemon trainer. And when the Pokemon trainer got debuted, oh Jesus Christ, I got so many fucking people slagging me off because I put on a bit of weight in the last year, which I don't like, but I mean, I'm a depressed motherfucker who sits there and eats my feelings. So I've over the last 15 years I've put on weight and I've lost it, put on weight and I've lost it, put on weight and I've lost it. I'm just going through the phase of putting on weight again and I'll lose it. So when it comes to the 4 characters, Ben 10, not really, because it's just Ben 10. The Spider-Man, yes, I do want to kind of, because there's a black suited Spider-Man, I do want to kind of make that either Logan from my Spider-Man story or make him a different Spider-Man. Okami, I'm actually in the works of drawing up a story with Okami. I'm thinking of putting it on Tiger Tales Lost Stories and have it so, he goes around the multiverse and kills people. And it's just, you're following a bad guy, basically. You're following an absolute dickhead. It'd be like if they made a full-blown TV show about Negan or, Homelander or Omni-Man or something. And I kind of want to make it so he has a dark backstory, there'd be flashbacks to his childhood or something, and it would be the type of story where you understand why he's bad, and you're almost rooting for what he's doing, but you know he's a dickhead, if that makes sense. And then Zach is already in the works. So Zach's a Team Rocket Pokemon trainer, and he works solo, and he's really into Ghost and Ice type Pokemon. And yeah, 110%, he's already in the works. He's going to be a bad guy for my Pokemon Time to Go storyline, and he's also going to have a Lost Chronicle chapter to himself. That'll be a lot of fun. So yes, 110%, you know, other than Ben 10, the other three are always, you know, I really like the idea of kind of stirring up stories with cosplaying. I like mixing the both. So yeah, 110%. 110%. And then the last question is, did you come up with a yearly goal for 2025 for yourself, YouTube channels, and the Three Ranger Bros? Again, an amazing question. So my goal for 2025 was not really a goal, but it was more of a motto, and that is, fuck it, just do it. Because the way that I see it is, I'm just a guy making content, right? That's why I have different channels. That's why I'm recording this right now. And I have the time, and I have the resources, and I have the willpower. And if I don't have the time, the resources, or the willpower, I have the ability to make time, and I have the ability to get the resources, and I have the drive to eventually get the willpower, if that makes sense. And I've always wanted to do different weird wacky things, you know, so I have the Tiger Entertainment Network, which sits at 22 YouTube channels. I actually have more than that. I currently have the Three Ranger Bros YouTube channel, which is technically mine in the sense of I host it, so that's 23. I manage all of Cosplay Dude 67's channels. I manage his podcasts. I also manage both of Mark the Rescorn Strangers and Cosplay Sons podcasts. I have access to everything. I can tap into all of it. And you know, if I really wanted to, I could be Thanos and erase half of their work if I really wanted to. But I actually have several YouTube channels which I've never mentioned, I've never talked about, I've never named them to anybody, I've never put it on TikTok, I've never promoted them, and I've got these channels where I just make different types of content, and I decided to make, I call them Shadow Band, right? Kind of like the Shadow Realm from like Yu-Gi-Oh, you know, you get discarded to that, you're done for, and you don't get mentioned. Or the Null Void channels, because in Ben 10 there's a dimension called the Null Void, which is like a interdimension, prison dimension. And so currently there's 4 channels that are active, that get content. There's going to be more, because I don't want the Tiger Nexus podcast and Tiger Tales and the Tiger Gaming channels to get swamped down by all this other stuff. And the Tiger Entertainment Network is 22 channels big. You could render that down to about 9 channels. You know, I have 7 Tiger Tales, I have 4 gaming, just for an example. You know, so I could render that down a bit. But I had 22 channels, and I'm happy with that, but I always want to do extra stuff, and they don't fit into any of the channels I have. You know, and one of them's even a story channel. I have stories that they're not published yet. One of these channels aren't, not all of the channels that are in the Shadow Band playlist, if you will, are actually public. There is a channel where I have written stories, I've turned them into audio dramas, and I've uploaded them, because all of my channels, Tiger Tales channels, all of my stories are linked. Every single one of them is linked together, every single one. And I wanted to write some stories that aren't connected, just off a whim. They're not published yet, but they will be. So that's my goal for this year, was just, fuck it, let's go. Another goal of mine is to make music, which I am in the process of. I am working with Anthony, who is the co-host of the sub-series Press Play and Level Up. He makes music. I'm in the process of working with him. I've always wanted to do nerdcore. If you guys don't know what that is, then Google nerdcore or YouTube nerdcore. Listen to Dan Bull, Dizzy8, Rustage, and Nerd Out, which are the 4 biggest, I believe the 4 biggest people on the platform. Maybe not in subscriber sense, but they're like the biggest, most well-known. I've always wanted to do stuff like that. I've never had the guts to do stuff like that, never had the self-confidence, but I have someone willing to make music with me, so I am sitting down whilst he makes the beats, I'm writing lyrics, and it's mostly going to end up terrible, but I'm willing to give it a crack. And then for the rest of the year, just hammer down, man. I want to get content out there. That there's things I want to review. I want to talk about comic books more. I want to write different types of I want to do more crossovers. I want to do, more Power Ranger storylines. I want to do Ben 10 storylines. Last year in 2024, I did a whole month dedicated to Universe 113. And then I want to do that again. I want a whole month where it's dedicated to Ben 10 storylines, and I've already got one Ben 10 storyline, but I want to add 2 more. So there'll be Albedo 10,000, Gwen 10 Alien Force, and then Ben 10 Ultra, which actually will take place in Willie's Universe 19, hence the name Ultra. So, I want to do stuff like that. I want to have fun with it. Gaming, I want to live stream more. I want to play more games. I now have a spreadsheet which has labeled every single storyline uploaded to all 7 Tiger channels, and we're currently over 300. I want to push that more. How many chapters can I actually upload this year? When it comes to games, I've made a list of all the games that we played this year. So far we're on 3, maybe 4, something like that, and I really want to push and see how many games we can record and make walkthroughs of. That's my goal for the YouTube channel sense. For myself, I think my only major goal this year is to start planning my wedding. Me and my fiance keep delaying it each year. So I would like us to actually start discussing things. We've got a list of guests that we want to invite, so we started that this year. Obviously my family now no longer talk to me. It's not only my mother I fell out with, it's my mother, my stepmother, and my sister, so it's dwindled down a little bit. I also just wouldn't mind just doing more adventurous things this year. I've never gone on holiday, man. When I say I've gone on holiday, I mean I've travelled for 4 hours to go see my father. That's the most I've ever done on holiday. I've never been on holiday. I'm not saying I've never gone abroad, but I'm not saying I want to go abroad. I'm just I just want to take my missus and go out for the weekend. Go to a cabin or a hotel somewhere that, in North Wales or in England, and just spend the weekend, checking out different places, That'd be great. I'd love to do something like that, especially when we get into better weather, because I live in the UK, it's shit weather here. And then for the 3 Ranger Bros, as of the beginning of this year, no, we didn't, but now we have a YouTube channel, which I've already mentioned, and a TikTok account. I want to get that up and running, stuff uploading. I want to make a name for us. The next time Willie has a table, he now has. I'm gonna give him the QR code specifically for the 3 Ranger Bro link tree. So when he says to people, "Hey, check out the 3 Ranger Bros," if someone says to him, "Hey, what's that?" his exact words should be, "We are a content creating group on YouTube and on TikTok. Individually we make our own content, but we also come together and make really fun content. We start discussions, we talk about stuff, and here's our QR code, check us out." There's again content for us together, but there's content from us separately, and I'd love Willie to be able to do that. But yeah, I never once said I want to be famous, but I'd love my name to be put on the map, if that makes any form of sense. And my biggest goal ever is to show my son that fuck the world. Who the fuck cares? Do what you want to do. You never be told no. Especially if it's creative. Always do what you want to do in that sense. Whether it's collecting shit, cosplaying, drawing, writing, podcasting, storytelling, whatever the case may be, you can do it and have fun with it. And that's exactly what I'm doing with all this. One of the reasons why I have the shadow banned channels, and why I have channels that no one even knows existed. And one of them is actually got almost 1,000 subscribers. That's another thing. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to leave this video here, this podcast episode here, because we're almost at 40 minutes, and that's nuts. Thank you, Billy, again, for asking the questions. I'm going to be asking Billy to give me more questions each time we do this, so that'd be really cool. And yeah, check out the 300 Bros Studios YouTube channel on YouTube, and then of course make sure you check out the 300 Bros Studios on TikTok. By the time this video goes live, I will be in the process of editing our first few TikToks and our first few YouTube videos, so make sure you go follow them, subscribe to them, and things like this, because we are coming hard with content. And of course, make sure you check out the Tiger Entertainment Network Linktree, which of course hosts all my channels. There's a lot of stuff there. I might have to do a State of the Tiger Cage episode where I just talk about every single channel. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, Billy will be giving me more questions, which I look forward to. Thank you guys for listening to me ramble on for almost 40 minutes. That's been awesome. Check out the rest of the podcast. Movie Dumps Live is with Ben, who we talk about, different movies, and Press Play and Level Up is with Anthony, where we talk about different games. Make sure you check out those sub-series. That'd be great. And yeah, next time that we come on as well, I'll have a few announcements, because in the next month I'll be on 3 different podcasts. 4 if Zero to Hero want me to. I'm meant to be coming back onto Zero to Hero at some point, so if they want me to record with them in March, I'll be on 4 different podcasts in March. So definitely look out for the next State of the Tiger Cage, because I'll announce the 4 podcasts. If Zero to Hero want me on, there'll be 4. If not, there'll be 3. There'll be 3 different podcast episodes within March itself, so that'll be really cool. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe button, and notification bell if you're on YouTube. Subscribe to the podcast, check out the guest interviews, check out the Geek Out episodes, and of course, you're off on podcast platforms. Follow us and rate us, however that works. And I shall see you guys in the next one.